Hey, school is in session, but you're not going to want to play hooky. Hi, everybody. Welcome to At Your Leisure today. I'm Chad Booth. We are down here near St. George with a great midterm location to learn about the history, the mining history that really propelled Washington County in the early days after the pioneers settled the area. Of course, my fellow students today are Ron Perry, Honda World, and Danny Holland, who is the general manager of Honda World in Salt Lake, and they signed up for this, and I don't think they know yet that there's going to be an exam at the end.
Okay.
Our instructor is Glen Zumwalt today, and Glen has a mining engineering background. He's been in the side-by-side and ATV business for a long time, and after his second retirement, he got involved in the history of this area and lives down here. So you are in for a rare treat with the renowned professor for today's school.
Well, we went over a few places today that some people would be challenged. We would call this an intermediate route. It isn't one that is an expert type route, but it is certainly got some cambers and some rock crossings and the stream crossing that we did. Nobody had to get pulled out. They all got through. So now my favorite part of the trail is the fact I'm out here and nobody else is. No matter where I go, whether it's history that takes me there or the geologic formations or the beauty, it's the quiet. It's the get away and enjoy real world out away from the crowds and the people. This is a sanctuary to me.
It'd be great for couples to come down here. Be good for families, kids to come down and learn a little bit about the mining and some of the history here in southern Utah. This is only 3.5, 4 hours away from our dealership in Salt Lake. Be a great weekend trip for anyone to come down. If you guys have questions about this ride or about where to go this time of year when it's a little bit colder in Salt Lake, come and see us. We've got a lot of great ideas. We know a lot of really fun areas to go down and explore and to get out of the cold this time of year. So come and see us. We've got a lot of great ideas for you.
So it's a good place to come out. You can choose. You don't have to take the gnarly routes. There are routes out here you can just wander around and see the country and see a lot of the old mining history without getting into the more difficult places.
All right, this is kind of like a parallel to what we say at the end of the show. You'll find adventure around every bend. Well, here is history around every bend. We've just discovered another old miner's house in a place called Hecktown. We got children watching the show, Danny. We can't really tell them what it says. Hecktown. Anyway, we're going to move on right now. We've got our first story lined up for you here on At Your Leisure. Check it out. Welcome back to At Your Leisure. We are down here at Silver Reef, and you may have noticed in the last couple of weeks that all of a sudden there are a lot of Honda World commercials on At Your Leisure. That's because Honda World is our newest family member in the At Your Leisure family. They've joined us as a sponsor. Ron Perry is one of the original Perrys that started putting Perry Brothers together. They opened up their first shop in what, 1971?
71.
Yeah. And then Danny is the general manager, and he also happens to have some special connections with Ron, and he runs the store. So tell us a little bit about Honda World history. I'll leave that one up to you, Ron.
Well, we started back in 71 over on Gun Avenue and then moved over to 31st South and Highland Drive, and then moved down to where we're at now, to 107th South and the freeway.
So I knew you when you made that move between 39th and 106th South. Was that like diving off the high dive for the first time?
Yeah, especially to everybody else. Everybody else thought I was crazy, but no, I thought it would work out great, and it did.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what the dealership's like today. I mean, what's it like trying to keep track of all the changes?
It's always changing. Yeah, the industry's changing a lot, and most of it is to be more inclusive. That's what's so fun about this industry. It's so inclusive. It's something that, it used to be the dirt bikes and three-wheelers, and it's progressed into four-wheeler ATVs, and now the side-by-sides. Yeah, the Pioneer 1000 six-seater, it's the roomiest six-seater side-by-side on the market. But yeah, again, it just goes back to more inclusivity. It's something that you can get the whole family, you can get a bunch of buddies together, you can go do, your hunting trips, your trail riding trips like this where we're going out to see some really cool historical sites.
So even with all the new models and everything, there are families like the Johnsons, who are other set of hosts for the show. Okay, they got 3 kids. Hendrix is 8, and he's on a dirt bike. And then of course the girls and mom generally are riding in the side-by-side, and then dad's on a dirt bike too. Is this really a mix and match industry for a family?
Absolutely, yeah. It's so easy to mix and match and find what's comfortable for, what's comfortable for one kid might not be comfortable for someone else, and one adult might like dirt bikes and one might be more comfortable in a side-by-side or on an ATV. But yeah, you really can get the whole family out and get them all involved.
Well listen, we're really thrilled to have you on board. Tell us a little bit about your hours. And the easiest way for people to get there, because some of them may give up if they're coming from the north.
Yeah, we're right between 106th South and 114th South, just on the west side of I-15 on the frontage road. You can get to us from 114th and you'll just pass the Walmart Sam's Club right there. We're by a big Volkswagen dealership there. Or if you go from 106th South, you're gonna exit the freeway going west and make a U-turn at that light, turn right onto the frontage road, and we're just right there on that main frontage road.
Good to have you guys on board. Honda World's been with us in the past, and they're back to join us to keep bringing you great programming. So we're gonna keep making our way around Silver Reef with Glen Zumwalt, and right now we'll take a commercial break. We'll be back with more At Your Leisure in just a minute. All right, another quiz time. Welcome back to At Your Leisure. We are paralleling Leeds Creek, and we are at the Cobb Mine, and it's got 2 B's, so it's not corny. I am, but it's not. So, all right, so we've run across this piece of machinery, and before Glenn tells us what it is, I'm gonna take bets. I think it's a tractor missing a front wheel.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ron?
I would say it's a compressor.
Oh, you cheated. The test is over. Tell us a little bit about this, Glenn. Why would this be out here on a mine that was, I didn't even know they used things like this in mines back then.
Well, it's an old compressor, and it's probably steam driven with a steam motor and belts that drove around the big pulleys you see. And the reason you have a compressor at a mine like this is so you can run compressed air into the mine and run air tools. The only air tool that probably was being used back in the 1870s, 1880s was probably a jackhammer. Jackhammers were around, drills were not, but jackhammers could be used underground, and that's why if you had a big enough mine and you could spend the capital to put in a steam boiler and an air compressor, you could be more efficient mining.
So, Danny, the shaft going back to these wheels looks like with an adapter plate you could put a Honda 1000 up here. Maybe a gold wing motor, and it might work.
Yeah, probably be a little more efficient than boiling some water, I would think.
So let's not follow that track of bad history, and let's find out about some of the real history about this mining area.
Well, I'd say number one, go to the museum. The museum gives you the story and gives you all the pieces of the puzzle of why this was a prosperous town, and why the people lived here, how the silver was mined. And they also have a little trail guide for things that you can see right out around the museum that are also available on videos. And then if you really want to come out into the old mining district like we have today, they can give you some ideas of how you get here and where you go.
It was really neat having Glenn with us to show us all the things that have gone on down here. It's amazing, all the history. If you just dig it up and try to figure it out, or bring somebody like Glenn along. Come out by yourself if you like. It's a great place to come and see, just because the weather is perfect. It's beautiful down here. I just really like it a lot.
Parts of rural Utah that are really interesting and neat, a lot of them don't exist on the freeways. But here, there's history that only can be told here because it's very unique. It's unique because silver and sandstone. So if you're out here, you get to understand what really happened in the 1870s and 1880s to help this whole area become prosperous and boom and become what it is today.
Well, if you're a person who struggles after you've strapped yourself into the seat of your side-by-side, this may not be the trail for you, because if you're going to appreciate all the history, it's like every quarter of a mile you've got some new thing to learn about. But man, what a way to get a history lesson. I probably have a history degree if I could have learned it all this way. Anyway, right now it's time for us to head off to another great story on At Your Leisure. Welcome back to At Your Leisure. Have we convinced you to go explore some of Utah's history yet? We have had a really great time here, and just a reminder that if you want to come down here, you need to respect the people like Glen live in the neighborhood, and this is very precious ground to them. And they don't want the access taken away, and they don't want any artifacts taken away. They want to preserve them. So if you come out here, please treat it with respect. Okay, it's like going to your grandma's house or your great-grandma's house. Treat it with respect. And if you promise to do all that, go see Danny over at Honda World, and he can get you a track of where we've traveled today. With that being said, let's take a look at next week's show. Well, thank you for joining us this week on At Your Leisure. We have just had a blast down here. Real different kind of riding, but you know what? Every time we go with Glen somewhere, we come back just a lot smarter. So thank you, Glen, for filling us in. And thank you to our new sponsor, Honda World, our return sponsors, Danny and Ron. So Danny, how was today?
It was a blast. What a better way to spend the day than out riding with some friends. It was a really good time.
Okay, Ron, how about you?
Had a good time too. What? This is as nice as it gets.
It is. It's a perfect day, and of course, you actually get out and do stuff now, and he's the one that's pulling teeth like it used to be to get you to go somewhere. but here, Glen, he'll always go.
Yep. Any excuse to get out is a good excuse.
I totally agree. And we can cap it off with some really great Mexican food at the little Mexican restaurant right here at the Leeds Outpost. So just remember, there's adventure around every bend. You just got to get out there and discover it at your leisure. There's a table waiting, guys, and I'm buying. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking.